Any more news regarding their plans for the Biju? Asked Tsunade with Jiraiya shaking his head no. No, whatever it is they are planning, the information about it is being tight-lipped. Even the other members seem to be either in the dark or their belief in the reason is different from the actual truth. Maybe a bit of both. This Toby character clearly knows the actual truth and is keeping it from being known to everyone. Including Pain and Conan. I get the feeling if they knew the truth, the organization would fall apart, said Jiraiya with Tsunade nodding. Try to find out what the actual truth behind getting all 9 Biju is, Jiraiya. It could be the key to crippling them, commanded Tsunade with Jiraiya nodding. I'm already on it, but it's not easy. Toby clearly is keeping this secret close to the chest. Not even Itachi found out. Granted, Toby knew Itachi was a spy, but someone that high up normally reveals things to everyone in the organization to a point where they can all function. This hidden leader of the Akatsuki clearly isn't doing that, replied Jiraiya with Tsunade frowning. Someone outside of this Toby character must know the truth. All we need is one other person within the organization. If we nab him or her, we can figure out what the Akatsuki want with the 9 Biju, said Tsunade with Jiraiya nodding. I'm on it, Tsunade Heim. Leave it to me, exclaimed Jiraiya before leaping out of the window. I should really do something to hurt him when he makes those leaps out of the window, remarked Tsunade to herself before going back to the paperwork in front of her. Akatsuki HQ sometime later. The plans are not proceeding as we expected, said Pain in disappointment. It was to be somewhat expected. With Itachi and Kisame dead for well over 3 years, some of our strongest members no less, it makes getting the Biju difficult, said Sasori calmly. Not only that, but the damn Kyuubi Jinchuriki has been making a name for himself too, and has made our presence known to all the shinobi villages. Our appearances, clothes, how we operate, and anything else that says, Akatsuki, on it. We can't move like we used to when the other places were ignorant of us. Iowa only cooperates with us on account of paying us being stupidly cheap. Though I get the feeling that will soon change in the near future, said Deidara with Pain frowning since Mad Bomber of Iowa was not one to have bad instincts. Even if he was insane on some level.
Speaking of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, we all know Konoha has 3 of our target. Why not attack them with all our might? Surely the 6 of us can take down an entire village, questioned Kakuzu with no one saying anything for a moment.
The greedy asshole is not wrong, for once. Plus an entire village sacrificed for Jashin-sama would be fucking awesome. Added Hidan with a grin on his face. Pain was silent for a moment as if in thought. In truth, he was being told something in a deathly whisper no one else but Conan could hear. So it would seem. Very well. We move against Konoha soon. We will capture the 3 Jinchuriki and place them in special cells designed to hold them until we gather all 9 for the Gedo Mazo. To ensure no one tries to interfere with us once those 3 are finally caught, I want Konoha destroyed. Not only will its destruction make us feared, but it will cause a panic and chaos which we can use to carry out our mission better, commanded Pain with the others nodding. What about the rumor of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki taking the 3 tails and turning him into a weapon that apparently only he can use? Asked Sasori with Pain frowning.
Whether they are true or not is irrelevant. We will defeat all 3 Jinchuriki and claim all 4 Biju, regardless if one of them was turned into a weapon of some kind. We will reverse the process somehow to make its chakra enter the Gedo Mazo, said Pain with the others nodding before all the holograms of each member faded.
Leaving only 2 Akatsuki members in the actual room, with an additional 2 members hidden in the shadows away from the others. You play a dangerous game here, Toby. You know Konoha will be a challenge for us if we do this, remarked Conan with Toby glancing at her before focusing on Pain. And your point is, what exactly? I thought everyone in this organization was a strong S-ranked missing nin of some kind. Not a bunch of frightened children. You know the risks involved with this organization. If you have a problem with that, perhaps we need to remove your presence from the Akatsuki, countered Toby with Conan stiffening at the subtle threat and Payne's eyes narrowing. Conan is loyal and her skills are unmatched. I won't allow it, Toby. Besides, if you want your plan to succeed, you need all of us. Or would you prefer to fight all of Konoha alone with only Zetsu as your backup? Threatened Payne with Toba's only seeable eye narrowing. Are you threatening me, Payne? Threatening to make the others not fight when the time comes? Challenged Toby with his Sharingan eye gleaming in the dark while Payne didn't back down. And what if I am? You are threatening a member of my organization unnecessarily. She makes a valid point and you know it. The more members we lose in this plan, the longer it will take to place the Biju into the statue. Even if we succeed and create fear in the other villages long enough to stall them, it won't be long before they realize we are also in a weakened position from losing members, and seek to pounce on us to claim what they feel is theirs. Or did you forget that crucial factor? Replied Payne with Toba's eye narrowing further in cold fury. I have forgotten nothing, Payne. This Sharingan eye of mine has made sure of that. Now, proceed with the plan. Zetsu will spy ahead of us and provide us with the intel regarding the weakest points of the village to strike from when we move against Konoha. You will go after the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Conan will strike against the one formerly from Taki with Kakuzu and Hidan going after the Nibi. I will go find out where this demon weapon the Three Tails has been supposedly turned into is located and retrieve it myself. That way, we can say at least one of the Biju is in our possession, said Toby before he and Zetsu left the room. I don't trust him. Something about this is very wrong, whispered Conan while Payne just frowned, but shook his head. It doesn't matter. For the sake of Dream, we must do this. We must destroy everything with a nightmarish war before creating our peace for the future, said Payne while Conan still looked unsure. I still feel this is wrong. Something about this plan is wrong. Toby has not been honest with us in regards to the plan. He is hiding something, or has lied to us. Perhaps both. I don't like it, replied Conan with Payne frowning further. You suspect the only one to come out of this plan is Toby and possibly Zetsu, surmised Payne with Conan nodding. The only one who benefits from this is Toby and Zetsu. No one else. The rest of us will be on the front lines fighting an entire village while those two are moving in the shadows. While I do not care for the others given their bloodlust tendencies, we also do not throw away members who were promised something for their own contributions, and sacrifices to the Akatsuki upon joining, said Conan with Payne's frown becoming a scowl. It is probably for the best they do not survive this mission, Conan. Hidan, Kakuzu, and Deidara have no place in our everlasting peace. The same could be said for both Itachi and Kisame if they were alive, said Payne without a care. And Sasori, he is not like the others, questioned Conan with Payne pausing in thought.
He would have been bored soon after. Finding his life reduced to one of archaic puppet making with little else would become a nightmare for him. He would most likely hate it in the years to come and try to disrupt the peace we create, answered Payne with Conan, looking upset that he would be so heartless over this.
What has happened to us? To you, where is the Nagato I have known since we were orphan children? Questioned Conan with Payne glaring at her now. He is dead. He died when Yahiko died. He died when Toby came to us with his plan to use the Akatsuki to achieve our shared goals. But I would not worry though about Toba's continued existence, Conan. When the time comes to end him, I will see to it personally, replied Payne with Conan not looking convinced.
And if you die before that moment? Your health has been declining for some time, said Conan with Payne stopping, and she saw a hint of Nagato for just a brief moment.
Before Payne came to the forefront of the body the man was using. If Toby is indeed deceiving us or is a threat to our goals, I leave it to you in ending him, and Zetsu for their treachery, answered Payne before he left Conan deep in thought. And I think I know how to do it, thought Conan before she brought out a simple-looking sheet of paper and wrote on it before turning the paper into a bird that flew off toward Konoha. She loved Nagato. She loved Yahiko. She loved the Akatsuki. But the painful fact and truth of the matter which remained these past few years was the organization had become a perverse version of its former self. Ever since Tobi, who called himself Uchiha Madara, though she had her doubts it was really the infamous Uchiha, took over the Akatsuki in secret, it had become something dark. Something corrupt, vile, and evil in a way that it made the woman want to puke at various moments when no one was looking. Deep in her heart, Conan knew the Akatsuki was no longer what it once was when first formed. She only stayed in the organization after Yahiko died because of Nagato, but even now that reason was no longer hold strength. Pain had already admitted openly that man he once was in the form of Nagato was dead and only his current form remained. A form she could not serve. It was time to leave the Akatsuki. It was time to find her own path to peace. If she could find the path to walk it.
Konoha sometime later.
Are you sure this is reliable? Asked Tsunade with Jiraiya nodding with his face being deadly serious for once. I am. There is only one person I know who could make an origami and I thought she was dead with the other two back in AIM. I'm actually glad that's not the case. Though what was revealed to me is not exactly making me feel all warm and cozy inside, said Jiraiya with a sigh.
But could it be a trap? We both know there is always a chance of this being a well-planned trap, countered Tsunade with Jiraiya shaking his head.
Not a chance. This message was written quickly, as if time was of the essence. If this were a trap, it would have been scribbled calmly. I know Conan enough from the time I knew her as a kid in AIM. She didn't rush. She was the calm one among the 3 orphans I trained. For her to rush this message to me means Conan's faith in the Akatsuki is not only shaken, it is practically gone, answered Jiraiya with Tsunade sighing. So let's say the message is genuine. How do we plan for this? Asked Tsunade with Jiraiya thinking.
Well, that Zetsu guy is going to be snooping around first to discover the best way to strike at us with the full might of the Akatsuki. If we do anything now, or rather anything noticeable, he will report back to the Tobi that something is off, and Tobi will no doubt suspect someone gave us a heads up. So, for the moment, we need to keep things as they are without revealing. We know they're coming. We know they plan to strike within the week on a certain day, so we can prepare just before it happens. If we time things just right, we can take out most of the Akatsuki in the overall counterattack, and force the remaining ones to retreat, replied Jiraiya with Tsunade nodding. So pretend we are oblivious when in fact we are poised to strike when they do. I hate cutting it close, commented Tsunade with Jiraiya smirking. Speaking of cutting, I think our godson should be on the front lines when this happens, said Jiraiya with Tsunade scowling. Why? Asked Tsunade with Jiraiya's smirk growing.
Because he's the only one capable of slicing through the strongest members headed our way. Besides, they will be hunting for him for the most part before they go after Fu, and even Yugito, so holding them back would only cause greater casualties, answered Jiraiya with Tsunade reluctantly nodding. With the way he kills others with that sword, I almost feel sorry for any of the Akatsuki members who cross his path. Almost, said Tsunade with a smirk of her own this time, and Jiraiya nodded in agreement. Don't remind me. He caught me peeping once on Anko and Hinata. I still have scars where he sliced into me, said Jiraiya with a wince. Considering you were peeping on his loved ones, you are lucky he didn't castrate you on the spot, commented Tsunade with Jiraiya wincing.
Yeah, because having him slice into my ass and literally taking chunks out of it are so much better, remarked Jiraiya sarcastically.
After what you did with your peeping, you deserved it, countered Tsunade with Jiraiya opening his mouth before shutting it and sighing.
Damn it! I hate it when she is right about stuff like this. Still, did Vergil have to aim that low? Thought Jiraiya while he still felt the phantom pains from his ass, even when sitting down, or when he was crouching.
Being a super pervert was not easy.
Konoha days later.
Something is wrong here. I can feel it, remarked Kakuzu with his years of experience in being a shinobi coming to the forefront of his mind. Fuck you and your feelings, Kakuzu. I'm here to score some sacrifices, so don't get in my fucking way. Exclaimed Hidan anxiously while his side was in hand and the two were walking toward Konoha's weak point to drive a S-rank size fist right through it. Only to be met by a multi-genjutsu layered explosive trap that activated when they were in the dead center of it. While it didn't kill them, given their own abilities, it did injure, and disorient them long enough for the opposition to be ready. When the two zombie brothers of the Akatsuki were finally able to center themselves, they found their current position was completely surrounded by an army of Anbu, and one green-haired seven-tailed Jinchuriki by the name of Fu covered in Biju chakra with a mean-looking spear in hand. Well, shit, remarked Kakuzu before all of the Anbu and Fu engaged the two Akatsuki members in a fierce battle where neither side could show mercy to the other. Konoha, another location.
Sasori and Deidara were faring no better. Like their fellow Akatsuki members, they too were surrounded by Anbu, some Jonin, and one seriously pissed off Nibi Jinchuriki by the name of Naoto See Yukito. The two members of the organization had been caught in a fire trap. Only instead of usual fire, it was the fire made by the Nibi, and making the idea of retreating virtually impossible at this point. In fact, putting these two against this many Konoha shinobi, and the Nibi Jinchuriki was the worst thing that could happen to them.
It was one of the reasons why Pain never had them go after the former Kumo Kunoichi, since she could neutralize them easily with her fire. Their combined talents overall were designed to handle the Shikaku Jinchuriki and his sand abilities in Suna. Sasori was from there and had a spy in place to get them in for the surprise attack they planned for him when the fighting started. Deidara would do the actual immobilization and they would go without much of an issue. But events regarding Itachi and Kisami's demise, plus Pain's changing of the plan to attack Konoha now of all times, sent everything off kilt.
Well, I always wanted to go out in artful manner, commented Deidara while Sasori did not look amused while bringing out his army of puppets. That makes two of us. I just can't believe I'm agreeing with you, added Sasori. While Yugito grinned an evil grin at the two Akatsuki members.
Come here, you Akatsuki bitches. Time to show you two rats what it means to challenge the big bad cat in her own home, said Yugito before she and the other Konoha shinobi made their move against the two missing nin. Konoha main gate. You knew I would be here. Just as you knew where the others would strike against us, remarked Pain. His six paths were spread out with the Rinnegan active and seeing Vergil walk toward him with Yamato drawn. You sound surprised, replied Vergil with Pain, using Yahiko's body narrowing his eyes at him. Hardly. I was just stating the obvious fact that Konoha knew when to defend against our attack on your village. Few knew when we would attack and how. Meaning the Akatsuki has been betrayed from within, replied Pain while Vergil smirked.
Yeah, well, what can you do? Your organization is filled with psychos, backstabbers, and other horrible. Don't be surprised when one makes a power play in the hopes you'll perish so they can take over, remarked Vergil before he summoned several magical swords that stabbed all but one of the paths standing in front of him,
before they fell over dead. Interesting. Your power has cut my connection to my paths, remarked Pain while he was slightly surprised to see such a thing happen. I have been practicing this for a while now. It's fairly new. But to simplify, it disables the chakra connection you have to those bodies, making them useless, replied Vergil before finding his body difficult to move due to the gravity around him increasing. You should have aimed for this one. It is the most powerful, commented Pain while Vergil smirked at him. You are forgetting, I have one blade left, said Vergil before pouring demonic energy into his sword arm, into Yamato itself, and threw said sword at the remaining path in front of him. This cannot be happening, said Pain while finding his control over the body was now escaping him.
How? How could he lose to this creature? Him of all beings. He was Pain, a god. He was unbeatable. He was,
A stab wound via a kunai to the back of his real body's skull and into the brain silenced any further thoughts or confusions on the matter. I'm sorry, Nagato. But this must be done, whispered Conan with sad eyes while seeing her dear friend's body slump over from their hidden position. He may have had the Rinnegan and was an Uzumaki by blood, but not even one such as Nagato could live through such a blow.
You did the right thing, Conan, said Vergil, while appearing beside her moments later. I know it was the right thing by killing him. It still hurts, whispered Conan while tears began to form on her face.
If you didn't feel anything, I would question your sanity and morals in regards to the act itself. The fact you feel anything proves you are not a monster or emotionless tool. Those are the ways of Danzo, Hanzo, Orochimaru, and the other ilk the shinobi way has sadly produced. You are not a monster. You cared about him. You set the man free. You freed him from his own hell that he couldn't see was there, said Vergil while Conan nodded in agreement. Well, isn't this nice? A traitor and a demonic freak. Together standing over a withering corpse of an idealistic fool-turned-puppet, remarked Toby while he appeared near the two shinobi.
Toby hissed, Conan angrily.
Toby is a stage name. Call me by my real name. Uchiha Madara, said Madara, while Vergil scoffed. I highly doubt you are him, said Vergil casually. Many have said that in the past about me. I made them into believers with my power, said Madara, while Vergil laughed at him. The real Madara would be wearing his red armor. He wouldn't be hiding his face behind a mask or under an alias named Toby. Not only that, but the chakra signature I'm sensing off of you is nowhere near Madara's level. The fox has a long memory of him and what you did years ago when I was born. Plus, I smell the stench of Mundus on you. So who are you really? Countered Vergil with Madara, stiffening for a second at the mention of the Demon Emperor.
Mundus? asked Conan with worry. The Emperor of the Demon Realm. So that's his plan. Isn't it, Madara? Use the Bijou as a means to open a portal large enough for him to get through and enslave all humankind. How cliché, and the fact he commands you to do it is even more ironic given your Uchiha ancestry. The real Madara would never been made into his puppet. But then again, what can you expect from such a hollow imitation? Answered Vergil with Madara scowled behind his mask.
You will pay for your insolence and disrespect, descendant of Sparda. Mundus and I will take great pleasure in seeing all you love be destroyed in the end, said Madara, while Vergil just smirked. You presume too much, fake Madara. Mundus does not like humans. He has nothing but contempt for them, even those who serve him loyally to the end. The Demon Emperor sees humans as pawns, servants, slaves to his will. You think he will let you enjoy the fruits of your labor which you perform secretly in his name? Whatever he promised you, it will never happen. And if Mundus by some chance did grant your heart's desire, it will only be to snatch it right out from under your feet, before he kills you, said Vergil in a cold tone while the fake Madara growled behind his mask.
He wouldn't do that to me. Mundus promised to bring her back to life, exclaimed Toby, while Vergil's eyes narrowed at the masked man's words.
You are doing all of this for someone else. Now I know you aren't Madara. The man never cared for anyone but himself, with the exception being his brother. And since you said she, we can instantly rule out that possibility too. In any case, your reason to serve Mundus is a hollow one. He will never bring back the one you want to life. Not even the Demon Emperor wields that type of power, replied Vergil with the fake Madara glaring at him. I will not be denied. Not by you, Konoha, or even Mundus himself. Rin will be brought back to me, and I will not allow anyone or anything to stand in my way. Especially you, son of the Yondaime Hokage, exclaimed Toby before he found the blade of Yamato now at his throat a second later, with Vergil standing to the right of him. Difficult to back up your claim when your head is severed from the body, commented Vergil with Toby glancing at him with amusement. You think your sword can hurt me? I can phase out of this dimension in a blink of an eye, remarked Toby with a hint of arrogance. Really? Because my sword can cut or slice through anything, and that includes your little phasing out ability, remarked Vergil with a glint in his eyes and made Toba's eye widen. A flash of movement later from both sides resulted in Toby moving away from Vergil. The Devil's Sword Yamato arched at an angle where it would have cut the masked man's head off diagonally if it fully connected. It was only due to the last-second reaction was that not the case, but it was damn near close with most of the mask Toby had worn slashed off by Yamato, and cutting the flesh of the man behind it.
So, care to tell us your real name, Toby? Or should we just take a wild guess on which Uchiha you are? Asked Vergil before he sheathed his weapon and saw Toby grab what was left of his mask before throwing it away to reveal his scarred as well as now badly cut face.
And revealing to everyone the scarred bloody Uchiha behind it. If you must know who I am, my real name is Obito. Uchiha Obito. And I was once a student of your father, said the now revealed Uchiha Obito.
I know of you. Reports have you being dead. Clearly they were wrong, said Vergil with Obito sneering at him.
Clearly, after my supposed demise, I was found by the real Uchiha Madara. He saved my life and helped me become what I am today, replied Obito with Vergil scoffing. So he helped make you an arrogant asshole for an Uchiha second only to him, and of course Sasuke. How does Mundus fit into all of this? Questioned Vergil with Obito just sneering at him.
After I recovered enough, I went out into the world to find my comrades, and returned to Konoha. I was planning to tell them what happened, what I saw, and where to find it. I was still a loyal Konoha shinobi at the time, and felt it was my duty to return. That all changed, of course, when I saw my former teammate Hate Kakashi kill my other former teammate and crush Rin with his signature lightning jutsu. And to make matters worse, he was using my Sharingan eye I gave him to do it. After Rin's death, I went into a state of what you would call intense depression. You see, it wasn't just simply crush I had on my former teammate. I loved Rin. She was my whole life. My whole reason to be happy in a clan like mine. And Kakashi took her away from me. Mundus soon appeared in a portal and told me about Kakashi's return to Konoha after what he did. Was he punished for his crimes? No. It was in that moment I realized Konoha was not my home, and the sensei I looked up to was not the man I admired. He actually forgave Kakashi for killing her. No punishment, no demotion of rank. Nothing! Mundus told me about the 9 Biju, and how if all of them were gathered together, he could use their combined energy to make a portal large enough for him to enter and bring about a new age. My reward was to have Rin brought back to life with his powers, and she would be with me forever, said Obito with Vergil scoffing.
A mere lie and empty promise all rolled up into one. Do you really expect Mundus to grant such a stupid request to a peon such as yourself? He will sacrifice you in a heartbeat the moment the time comes to throw your ass away. Sure, you will bitch and complain about not having your promise fulfilled. But do you know what Mundus will say? He will say honoring such deals are beneath him. Such deals made by weak and naive don't have to be honored by a superior being. Mundus will even admit to not having the power to bring Rin back to life right before ending yours, and the only thing left for you at the end will be regret, said Vergil with Obito glaring at him. You lie. You are an enemy of Mundus. You would say anything to stop him and prevent the return of my Rin-chan, countered Obito while Vergil smirked. Are you sure? Return to him at your lair. Call the Demon Emperor out on his promise. Make him swear he can do it upon the throne his puppet master ass that sits on it, said Vergil with Obito vanishing moments later via Kamui.
Are you sure that was wise? Letting him live might have been a mistake, said Conan with a hint of concern in her voice.
No, it wasn't a mistake. The man is dead. He just doesn't know it yet. If I didn't kill him now, Mundus will do it for me when those two have their next chat. I almost feel pity for the fool. All his years of planning, plotting, scheming for the moment where he could be with his precious Rin will only create one end result. His death and the Demon Emperor's entry into this world, replied Vergil before he narrowed his eyes at sensing a presence nearby spying on them and shot an ethereal sword into the nearby forest.
Squelch.
And ending the life of the Akatsuki spy known as Zetsu before he could vanish into the ground along with the dark half of an entity possessing it. So what do we do now? Or rather, what do I do now? asked Conan with uncertainty since she couldn't go back to AIM given how Obito would be there along with the damn statue. She also didn't want to be anywhere near the Uchiha when he somehow got in contact with the Demon Emperor. You will come with me to Konoha and explain things to the Hokage. We will take your friend here too for a proper burial. Someplace safe where no one can try to pilfer his body of its secrets, replied Vergil with Conan nodding. Thank you Vergil-san. The Akatsuki was never like this from the start. It was once an organization meant to bring about peace. After our dear friend Yahiko died followed by the arrival of Uchiha Obito claiming to be Madara, everything changed. Nagato became known as Pain, the Akatsuki turned into a terrorist organization, and recruited the most dangerous of missing nin to the cause with promises being made to them if they served loyally. Empty promises that I recently discovered were never meant to be honored in any shape or form, replied Conan while feeling a sense of sadness over what had just happened and everything surrounding the need to betray others. She hated the idea of betraying others. She hated herself for betraying Pain, but it had to be done. The man she cared about was gone long before now, and it was only just in these final moments with the Rinnegan user did she realize the painful truth surrounding the matter. We will talk about this at a later time. In the meantime, follow me to the Hokage Tower where my godmother will wish to speak with you about what happened here with Obito revealing himself to us, said Vergil before the two walked toward Konoha.
Hokage Tower sometime later.
I swear Gaki, you bring about the biggest headaches the world has ever known. Kami, I wish I could drink right now, remarked Tsunade before letting out a sigh. At least you can't say your life is boring, countered Vergil and got a glare in return. In any case, this news about Uchiha Obito being alive, and this Emperor Mundus from your ancestors' time makes things much worse, said Tsunade with Vergil nodding. Mundus has hated my family since the days when Sparda himself lived. Betraying the demon realm for this one put a big target on his back. And not just him. Everyone from his bloodline was and still is a big target to him. Fortunately, the means to get here was sealed away long ago, but there are ways to make large temporary holes in the realm long enough for someone like him to get through. It's extremely difficult to do, but still quite possible, explained Vergil with Tsunade sighing. What about this statue in AIM? The one Mundus is so interested in? Asked Tsunade with Vergil glancing at Conan to fill in that particular gap.
After Tobi, or rather Obito came to the Akatsuki shortly after Yahiko's death, he soon revealed what the Gedomazo really was, and how Nagato had summoned it following Hanzo's attack. He claimed the statue was a means to bring about everlasting peace. A weapon of unimaginable power, and the one who wielded it had the means to have their heart's desire granted. All it required was all 9 bijou to bring about its full potential. Once filled with all 9 bijou from all 5 shinobi villages, it would have unlimited power to destroy anyone Pain wished. The plan was to use the statue at full strength only once to make the rest of the world realize we meant business and force everyone to submit to our desire for peace on our terms, explained Conan, while Tsunade shivered since she knew each bijou could summon a massive ball of chakra and shoot it out in a projectile fashion with devastating results.